Hello and welcome everyone to another Fireside chat featuring Das, who's the lead pirate at Captain and Company. We thought it would be best to have this conversation in light of Captain and Company's node sale scheduled for next week, more specifically on April 9th. So mark your calendars. Therefore, the aim of the session will be to learn more about Captain and Company, break down some of the key details of the node sale, and so much more. So tune in as you won't want to miss this. To get started, that's first things first. Thanks for joining us. Would you be able to start by providing a quick primer, right, on Captain and Company as a game, and then we'll delve into the details of the node sale.
Yeah, of course, Eric. No, thanks a ton for having us on. Right, so I'm Das. I'm the lead pirate over at Captain and Company. We are a fantasy pirate MMO. We are basically a real-time first-person RPG where you take the role of a pirate. You go out there on the high seas and you join a crew of 5, 10 other folks. And then you blast other people's boats to bits. You steal their stuff, and you sail away. And so, we've spent the better part of 2 years building this out. We're a real scrappy team of indie devs ourselves. And, our big picture, our big vision, right, when building this was that we all wanted that pirate game, from our childhood that we all imagined, right? Like going on a ship, multiplayer, you got your friends, your pals on the cannon, someone else is on the sails, someone steering the boat, and you guys are all cooperating to take down some big baddie, right? And so what we did is we went out, we built that thing, and then we tied it into the blockchain, obviously, so that you can actually own those ships. And what we're going to be doing here over the next month, we've got some crazy updates planned, Eric. We're basically going to turn the whole game into this objective-based, two-sided, persistent faction war. And what you should imagine that looks like is that you're going to spawn in, you're going to be on a raft, you got to go out there, you got to collect your resources, build yourself up a ship, go out, blow up some other people's ships, steal their stuff, come back, build yourself a bigger ship, and then keep going back and forth until one side, kind of like Horde and Alliance back in WoW, eventually ends up winning this massive war. So we've got tons of plans coming out here. Obviously, all of this complemented by the node sale here going live next week, and the token, which I'm happy to dig into, which is a really, really key governance feature of the entire ecosystem. So that's, Captain and Company in a nutshell. We're also one of the larger games over on Abstract. We've got tons of folks who are having just a load of fun streaming daily. Abstract also just kicked off their clipping program. People are making $500-$600 a day just for clipping streams, which is incredible. So there's tons, to both, love and earn, and just lots of fun to have over in the ecosystem.
That's incredible. You said a lot there, and a lot of keywords that sort of spawn ideas and just pique my interest. So, in terms of traction, right? Because you said that there's a vibrant community, which is everything, right, for a blockchain project, but more specifically for a gaming one. What's the traction looking like now at the minute?
It's kind of crazy. We generally don't do a lot of paid promotion. We really only like organic traction because we don't have a lot of cash to be wasting on, KOLs flying left and right. But we just passed 1,000 CCUs last week. We posted our metrics. For those of you in the gaming world, 1,000 CCUs is nuts. That's a legit game. If we were on Steam, we would be in the top 600 games in the world right now.
Wow.
And we're a blockchain game. We're not even on Steam yet. And we probably will be listing both on Epic, Google Play, iOS, etc. later, potentially even this year is kind of the plan. And so the net is like, what is traction? Traction right now is insane. And I would say, frankly, a lot of that in part is due to Abstract. We really have had a ton of fun, building with the Abstract community. I would say that conservatively, switching into Abstract, I would say that on a normal baseline day, we are seeing between maybe 25 to 50% higher traffic than before. And then around peak days, where there's some type of activation we run with them, it's really, as much as like 3 to 5x as much traffic as we normally get. So it's been a great partnership. We love the guys over there. But yeah, in general, we've actually managed to do a lot with very little. There actually has never been a VC raise into Captain and Company. There hasn't been a round, so there's really no big private market makers or anything waiting around to really dump on folks. The big point of the whole project actually is just to build a proper decentralized game that we all really want to play. And so, to that end, traction has come entirely from a grassroots bunch of folks who just want to be
Organically.
pirates, man. Yeah, it's just it's just a bunch of nerds who really really want to be pirates, and we are the chief nerds among them. So it's been a really really great and fun project to be a part of.
Sounds awesome, to be honest with you. And once again, there's a lot you said that I wanted to further dissect. One thing that, as I was preparing for this, that stood out right about Captain and Company was how the statement, right, that Captain and Companies would be like your node launch would be the gaming's first fair node launch. So I wanted to ask you what you think this is the case, and if you'd be able to include in your answer also some of the details that make your game design so unique, if possible, please.
Yeah, so this is a great one because nodes really get a bad rap, and I wish they wouldn't. The original cypherpunk thesis, right? Like Bitcoin, Ethereum, it's all proof of work, right? It's you contribute to a decentralized network and you own part of that network. Um, our nodes operate on similar principles. 100% of the CNC tokens are generated by the nodes. There is no pre-mine. There is no form of pre-allocation. All of the nodes are transparently shown. We show exactly how the tiers break out, etc. And there's not this notion that people have already hoarded a bunch of tokens and they're just waiting to dump. Even the game ourselves, so the foundation itself, which supports the token ecosystem, will be having to purchase the nodes themselves using their own cap tokens, which will be burnt. And then those will produce the ecosystem rewards that will be used in the game down the line. And so in our minds, this is the first great gaming fair launch of nodes because we don't have this notion of VC overhang. There's not this big bolus of investors waiting to come in and dump. And even the project itself is buying the nodes, at the outset of the actual launch. So to my knowledge, and I please, if someone in the comments knows differently, but to my knowledge, this is the very first time in Web3 gaming that 100% of the tokens are being dedicated to the nodes, and there is no pre-mine of any kind. It is a perfectly fair launch. The users are the ones who own the ecosystem. Whatever happens after launch, that's up to the community.
Power to the people, right? Ultimately, that's the best way
very
to
much
summarize what you just said. So, yeah, I think it's definitely exciting, right? That there are some projects out there that want to uphold those true values, right? Of bottom up participation, democracy, and just trustlessness. So decentralization, of course, which is the name of the game when it comes to nodes. So kudos to you and the team, to you and the rest of the Captain and Company team. Something that I also wanted to ask is if you'd be able to provide more context on the node sale, right, at a high level. So let's just say if a potential user just wanted to clip this specific question, what are some of the key details about the node sale, right? So number of nodes, timeframes, and opportunities in place for users out there who might be interested in becoming a pirate themselves and join the game.
Yeah, of course. So first and foremost, disclosure, obviously. The nodes are not investments, everyone. Do not buy these if you're looking for an investment. These nodes are for a game. This is a game ecosystem that we're building here, and this is your part of owning that game and that game ecosystem in the context of the game. Now, the nodes will drop, it looks like right now on the 9th. So this is super, super soon. They're going to be deployed on Abstract. For those of you who are aware of how Abstract XP works, which is their big farm, generally interacting with contracts on the Abstract chain in some form, generates Abstract XP. We do not control what hands out Abstract XP, so we can't confirm or deny if you will get Abstract XP for participating. But what we can say is that generally participating in contracts usually results, in some form of Abstract XP. The nodes themselves, the plan right now, barring any engineering changes, is to have the nodes begin emitting tokens immediately. So the game plan is that the sale will kick off, and quite literally, as soon as you buy a node, within short order, potentially as soon as you buy it, but maybe up to as much as a day, depending on how engineering shakes out, you're going to be able to deploy that node and begin actually creating the very first CNC tokens. So the people who are participating really will be the progenitors of that, that actual CNC token base. Now, following that, the community is expected to create DEX LP pools, so there will be some form of liquidity. The game will be putting incentives against those LP pools. so that people, who do participate in them, you'll be able to farm some additional game-related rewards. And then shortly thereafter, there will be a single sex listing. And again, and I can't emphasize this enough, this is the most vanilla sex listing possible. There is no plan for crazy market maker dynamics. There is no plan for a crazy sex airdrop. This is completely vanilla. It will just provide an on ramp for the community members who need a way to go between the token and USD. So having said all of that, the really critical elements to understand about the token itself is that this is our method of getting to a decentralized game studio. When we say that we want to build the pirate game that everybody wanted when they were a kid, we really mean that. And that means that your vote and your ownership of it truly matter. So the way that we've visualized this, and we've already started demonstrating this over the past 2 years of votes, is that the amount of CNC token that you hold will enable you to help determine which game features actually get built. So we have two methodologies to do this. We have a live forum, feedback.cap.gg, where people
Right.
can go in and already propose all sorts of features, right? And then other people can upvote them and we see them. After a feature gets upvoted and discussed by the community, then it goes over to a snapshot vote where everybody's CNC balance is polled, and then the winning, feature or vote is what the devs will actually then implement. With some bounds. There's certain no-go areas which we obviously can't touch for engineering reasons. So that's kind of a big part of it. And another huge part of the token is that in the game, as we switch over to this two-faction warfare mode, there's going to be a giant war chest in the middle, which is basically composed of all the crafting fees which people are putting in, as they're playing the game, as well as external sponsorships if the game, secures those. And as a CNC holder, you'll be able to participate in what's effectively a no-loss vote. So it's kind of a bet, but you can't really lose for betting. And you'll bet on the outcome of the war. You'll bet if your team will lose, or you'll abstain, and you'll say, like, I don't know who's going to win. And you have the potential then to basically win what are cashable rewards out of that war chest if your vote is correct. And so in that way, it's kind of like a soft single-sided staking mechanism, but really it takes a little bit of participation. You got to think, like, do I think red team's going to win, blue team's going to win, etc. So we got rewarded
Interesting.
LPs, we've got decentralized voting, and we've got actual in-game cashable rewards, which will be cut out, to the token holders. And so that really sets the basis, for the economy. And we're trying to keep it simple. We're trying to keep it very straightforward. We don't want any, fancy convolution around it. We just want people to play the game, have fun, and actually own, the game that they're playing here.
You mentioned something during the next like 4 weeks, right? That it'll be like an intense period, and whoever will be interested in playing the game will come in, and there'll be two factions and stuff like that battling one another. Would you be able to explain the dynamic a little more, right? Of how, like, if someone would actually be interested in play, how will that experience actually look like?
Yeah, of course. So we're turning over our first time user experience so that it's going to be a little bit more clear. But the net
Right.
takeaway is really that a new user comes in, they're going to be on a literal raft. You will go around, you will fish up resources, you will try not to get your poor little raft blown up too fast. You're going to take all those resources, you're going to craft a bigger ship, you're going to have other people, friends, potentially join you on your ship, and then you're just going to rinse and repeat that exact loop. You're going to go out, you're going to fish, you're going to blow stuff up, you're going to get bigger resources, build bigger ships, do more damage, and ultimately win the war for your side. And that's it. It's very straightforward. It's the fantasy of, I want to have a big ship, I want to have all my friends on this ship, and I want to blow stuff up.
There you go. Sounds super simple. What about weapons? Like, how do you take down other people's ships? Is it like cannons, or is it more
Yeah.
the more
No, it's
weaponry
all
as well?
cannons. I think people have asked before for, like, I don't know, magic beams and lasers and stuff, and we're not necessarily opposed to it. The world, the lore is a fantasy world, right? So, like, you should basically put it, on par in complexity with maybe a World of Warcraft style,
Okay.
fantasy system. So yeah, look, magic, all that kind of crazy stuff, totally fair play.
There you go. Sounds like the limit is only one's imagination, right? And that's kind of
Yeah,
the beauty of
exactly.
it. That's kind of the beauty of it. You mentioned earlier that the CNC team, the CapnCompany team, has been hard at work for like 2 years. So I wanted to ask, why is now? Why did you decide now is the right time to launch to do the node sale? And yeah, basically, why now?
Yeah, so the token itself and the node sale, we really view these as gameplay components. So we're, you know, while the market sucks. We're not really looking at this from a perspective of we need to top tick the market. This is
Right.
really more, we want the community in from a base level. Like we want everyone to be building with, the rest of the devs and the community, moderators, etc. We want everyone here together on one mission, which is just to make an awesome pirate game that everyone wants to bring their friends to. So, to us, the token is something we've actually wanted to get out for a while, but frankly, it wasn't quite clear how it would fit directly into the game while still driving value to users. And we think that with this new game mode that we're pushing up, that it actually is very clear that the token holders here, they will be able to participate in this very specific set of game rewards, which the whole ecosystem is now being built around. This idea of a war chest, where all of the crafting fees, right, and all of these different little sponsorship bits and other, goodies that we can find, just all get stuffed into this thing. And then the token holders, naturally just have exposure if they participate through the voting mechanism in the game. And so to us, it's less about the market, and it's really more about, okay, the game design now actually lends itself to the notion of user ownership, and this is the time now to really get everybody involved.
I mean, couldn't have said it better. No, it's totally clear. And why do, what can I say? I'll tell you this from my personal perspective. Why pirates, right? If I had to answer that question, it would be like, I don't know if you know One Piece, but it's been part of my weekly routine for, I don't know, 15 years basically, right? And it's truly like I support it religiously almost. Like it's crazy. Like it's truly part of my life. So wanted to understand why. Was it Pirates of the Caribbean? Was it like any other influence? I think it would be super fun to know a little more.
Yeah, look, it's funny you mentioned One Piece because the very first cosmetic we put into the game was basically Luffy's hat because that's what the community wanted.
That's
So,
awesome.
like the base cosmetic in the game is a straw hat, and so yeah, look, tons of pop culture, influence. I think that a lot of the dev team, we played old ancient pirate games even, right? Like there's so many good ones from that lost MMO age of the early 2010s, early 2000s that a lot of us, tinkered with, right? Like everything from Arc Age, Voyage Century Online, Puzzle Pirates, even Eve Online, right, is really a
Right.
pirate game if you get down to it. It's a blend, right? And so we are really a bunch of nerds, man, and we've all been playing this stuff and watching the same shows and animes as you all have for years, and we want to put that all into the game. And that's also the beauty of the token system, right? Is that if you guys want more of that, just vote it in. Like we want to build what you want, so just put it on the forums, bump it up. We'll get it to a snapshot vote, and in it goes into the game.
You heard it, folks. If you have any wild ideas, just put it up to the vote. Like it's truly the sheer uh, formula, right, for democracy and bottom up involvement and engagement. I think it's awesome. Thus, it's been really eye opening to learn more about Captain and Company. We at NodeOps can't wait for the node sale next week, and it'll be everyone's opportunity to get in on the action, as you mentioned, and become a pirate themselves, and just have a stake in the network. You could say the actual raft upon which the game is actually built. And as a concluding remark, is there any CTA or particular information that you'd like to share with the audience? Now's the time for you.
Yeah, guys, refer your friends. So this is super slept on. We have referral links in the profile page. You'll get 5% of all their rewards. The more people you bring in, the more you earn. So just go out, send that thing to as many people as you can. It's a very, very easy way for you to take a big stake in the ecosystem, is just to help us spread the word. We want more pirates, and if you guys have more pirating pals, just bring them in. That's it.
That's awesome. You heard it from Das, guys. Spread the word, and we can't wait for the node sale. It's been a pleasure. Thank you very much, Das.
All right. See you around, Eric.